Joining me on Decent Cities is the co-founder and chief blockchain officer for Blockspaces, Gabe Higgins. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good to be here, Joe.
We have a million things we could talk about. All the years you've been supporting and driving the blockchain community through meetups, the evolution of Blockspaces. But there's big news lately, which is your most recent investment, a little over $6 million, which is awesome. Congratulations. So,
thank you.
Yeah, that's gotta feel good.
Yes, it feels really good. We didn't expect to be here so soon.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good.
So let's first let's look at the Blockspaces and kind of the main product you're still in the process of building, and then we can move into the opportunities that have emerged from being in that space to what drove the specific investment. So can you give us a brief overview of Blockspaces?
Yeah, so our roots are here in Tampa, and we started in 2017 is when we started the company. And it really came out of the necessity to have a dedicated space to where we can have events centered around blockchain and crypto. I started the Bitcoin meetup groups in 2014, and still doing them to this day. But during 2017, the first real huge hype bubble in crypto, we saw a massive influx of people coming out to our meetups. And before then, we were just meeting at the local. We were meeting at Kahuna's down on Gandhi, and just a couple of tables. So maybe a dozen people at most. At this point, we were having hundreds of people coming out to our meetups every other week. So it just got to a point where we needed our own space, that I didn't have to struggle to book a location and figure out the logistics too. So that's really how it came about. I was self-funding it, so we didn't have any kind of business model or plan or anything like that. It was just something that I thought came out of necessity for the demand here locally.
Got it. And so there you're acting as a bridge really between the technology and the community. And so sort of you then turn that into a business doing that for businesses.
Yeah. So during our evolution, we've gone through a couple of iterations of what Blockspaces is and what we do. At first, we were kind of that community hub. And then we started getting entrepreneurs actually developing projects, one being Pocket. Michael was, coming to the meetups early on, talking about this idea he had from very early stages. So we kind of watched that progress through his own evolution. But that's what it kind of became. Blockspaces became like this de facto incubator because we kind of were able to draw a bunch of resources from the community and other places, other knowledgeable professionals like with legal and accounting and et cetera. Stuff you need for a young startup to actually get going. So after that, we started having bigger companies, established companies in the local area coming to us as well because they heard about this blockchain thing. Their CTO is tasked to have some kind of blockchain. I call it a blockchain something. They don't even know, but they're trying to figure it out. So they would come to us and ask questions, and so we started doing a lot of consulting and project development work. And that led to kind of us seeing this consistent issue with how does this technology get deployed at scale with businesses? Like, how are businesses in the future? How are we going to all operate? We believe blockchain is this foundational underlying technology that can uproot a lot of current business processes and how we operate right now on the internet. It's very insecure. The data is always either lost or trapped in these disparate systems. So to really get the benefits of what a blockchain provides, you need a lot of participants, joining these networks. And it's very difficult to do that right now. It's a technical hurdle is high and it's very expensive. So we thought of conceptually on how to minimize the cost and the speed to go to market with some kind of blockchain solution. So that's the current iteration of what we're doing now, is building a product that enables businesses to integrate what we can now call Web 2.0 systems, legacy traditional ERP, CRM systems, with new Web 3 enabled applications or networks. So very quickly, very easily, and at a much lower cost than we currently have experienced.
In that process, how much of that is knowledge-based versus actual, coding or development-based work? That integration process.
Yeah. So on our end, we like to kind of obfuscate all of the blockchain complexity, right, and just hide all that with our platform. We are managing and providing the infrastructure support. So blockchain has very unique needs. And by the way, no blockchain, blockchains are not created equally, right? They're all different. They all make different trade-offs. Some of them are purpose built for specific use case applications. So depending on what your needs are is going to depend on what blockchain you need. And depending on that determines what kind of infrastructure support, what kind of integration support you need. So we're kind of wrapping that all up into a single package on our platform that enables all of this blockchain stuff to become like a plug-in platform where the integrations happen in a seamless way. We're trying to make it as low code to no code as possible, kind of drag and drop, point and click, and you can be up and running fairly quickly.
That's great. And you talk about no blockchains, they're not created equal, and that's only going to increase in as specialist blockchains emerge as that are specifically tailored for certain functions, and then that'll make the integration process be even more variety, which will make your service even more valuable, because it won't just be the actual integration, it'll be choosing the exact mix of places to integrate.
Yeah, exactly right. So what we kept seeing is that you have these consortiums starting to develop around different industries and different industry needs or use case applications specifically. So you get to the point where it's like, well, what if, okay, I'm a company and I need to not only connect to this network, but this and this and this network as well. Well, now I've just multiply. If I went ahead and built this siloed blockchain application that's kind of vertically integrated to a particular stack, now I have multiplied my problem. So that's not a way this can scale, right? So that's where we saw our platform being a handy tool to enable. Oh, if you need to connect to this new network that popped up and that your industry is onboarding into, now it's just a point and click instead of enduring this whole kind of shift in your business and who you need to hire to support this new thing. And it just becomes too much of a headache and too much of a hassle. It's right now it makes it to where it's just impractical for most businesses, except the ones that have a big enough budget to actually go and tackle that head on. But most businesses can't do that, right? So it becomes unpractical. So they just brush it off as, oh, that blockchain stuff, it doesn't work anyway. There's no ROI there. And there, to be fair, there isn't if the cost is so high. But if you bring down the cost and make it easier, then the ROI becomes more apparent.
Makes sense. And being in this space, you're seeing emerging trends and opportunities all the time, which is kind of a cool thing about being that sort of that bridge. And you mentioned Pocket earlier, Michael O'Rourke coming to the meetups, and as they now, as we'll get to, form a big part of this last raise. Can you just share a little bit of information about Pocket, what it is, and then how your Blockspaces is starting to work with them?
Yeah, so Michael very early on had had along the same kind of idea, where he saw the problem that all these networks that are popping up, they had a central point of failure still, and it came down to the infrastructure support. You're either running a full node or you're tapping into somebody else's full node, right? And for networks like Ethereum, running a full node can be very costly and cumbersome. So most people don't. A vast majority of dApps that are out there using Ethereum don't actually run their own Ethereum node. They're tapping into, one of the main Ethereum node providers is Infura, and they rely on AWS primarily. So a couple years ago, what we saw is that when AWS had some kind of outage in their network, Infura also therefore went down, and all the supporting nodes that everybody's running their dApps through also went down because of it. So it became very apparent how centralized a lot of these networks actually are from an infrastructure standpoint, which obviously is a problem. So Michael saw that early on, where he could address that by incentivizing full node operators all around the world, just like miners on a Bitcoin network or proof of work network, for proof of stake networks to still incentivize node operators and be able to create a kind of like a meta network, if you will, between various different blockchain systems, to where you can have that robust infrastructure that is also decentralized, doesn't rely on single cloud providers or single node operators, but a network of those participating node operators maintaining the actual infrastructure. So we're starting to see that kind of vision really come to fruition in the past, I would say, 12 to 18 months, where not only their network has launched, gained some traction, gained some credibility, but now is running into their own scaling issues because it's growing so fast.
Right. That's great. And just a couple of vocabulary words. So, and correct me if I don't say this right, but the full nodes basically hold a whole copy of the Ethereum blockchain. And the value of the blockchain is having those multiple copies on thousands of computers. But if you get into a situation where a high percentage of those thousands of computers are owned by the same person, you've essentially now brought back centralization into it.
Yep.
And so what Pocket does is act as sort of a spreader that can get traffic moving between lots of different disconnected nodes, and help solve some of that problem.
Yeah, actually have a robust Web3 infrastructure platform, basically, which hasn't been the case.
Right. And in doing so, then, because they're spreading out to lots of different places, they now actually have their own coin, which is the staking coin for the service. And so you've now taken a lead in spinning up those Pocket nodes to help Pocket do its job.
Yeah, exactly. So the incentive structure is for Pocket is that you acquire a certain amount of Pocket. The minimum balance is 15,000 and some change for spending, but then you can stake up to the network your own node, and that's you saying, "Hey, I'm a full node and I'm ready to do some work." And you relay transactions that come across the Pocket network to its proper end blockchain node. Pocket is agnostic to which blockchain it is, but it will route to the correct blockchain itself. And that's pretty much how it works. You earn for processing those relays. And a relay is like literally anytime, if you're on your coin market cap on your app, checking the prices, every time that price feed is going through, or you're checking your wallet that needs to go grab the balance from the blockchain, anytime a blockchain is being pinged, that's a relay, right? So anytime a relay is processed, that is when your node has the opportunity to earn rewards on the Pocket network. So yeah, we saw an alignment there with the notion that, okay, this is going to be a multi-blockchain world. We're dealing with many different kinds of networks. So how do we create a way to support all of these various networks that makes it easy for the end user to actually leverage these truly decentralized applications for Web3 users? And so that's where our mission at Blockspaces really aligned really well with Michael's mission. And so we're now not only supporting that network as a node operator ourselves, the Pocket network that is, but all the underlying supporting networks that Pocket supports currently, and additional ones that we support aside from Pocket. But we see the value long term with supporting these different systems and seeing which ones actually take root and are actually being used, but making it also easy for enterprises to leverage the Web3 infrastructure itself too.
That's great. And so when you say you're supporting those, you are a node, but then you're also offering node as a service essentially too, and that's one of the big that was one of the big impetuses behind the last raise, is because that business has a lot of upside to it, and you want to keep growing that.
Yeah, well, so I mean, really, what Pocket has been able to do is really taken off, like I said. So we were just so happened to be early adopters, right? Yeah. Supporting Michael and his vision and doing what he's doing. And it really kind of for us, it happened by accident almost. We had some people that were involved in Pocket early on come to us just because if they knew Pocket, they knew us. And they said, hey, Pocket's about to launch. I want to stake towards their network. Could you guys help us with that? We weren't thinking at the time that would be like a business in and of itself, but it again aligned with us strategically with what our ultimate plan was, which is to support the infrastructure and support the connectivity to many different nodes for enterprises. So it fell in line with our mission and our goal. So we decided to just try it and do it. And it just kept catching fire from there. Yeah. It kept rolling. And that's with Pocket becoming now actually known and popular, our business has also benefited from that. Yeah.
To the point now where you actually have had to institute a minimum engagement, just because you have such a backlog that you have to, and it's not a small one.
No, it's not. We're dealing with a lot of growing pains right now, which is a great problem to have. A startup should not complain about these kinds of growing problems, and hopefully I don't come across like I'm complaining. But they are issues. We're feeling some friction from our customers that they want to get staked right away because Pocket is doing so well. So, and we're trying as fast as we can while we're hiring and supporting the infrastructure itself. There's a lot of unknowns that we've gone into this with, so we're figuring it out in flight. So the scaling of this kind of infrastructure is not trivial by any means. So appreciate everybody's support, by the way, if you're listening. But we have a lot of plans to scale up our processes and automate a lot of things that are not yet automated to be able to smooth that kind of interaction with us.
And the scary / beautiful thing is that Blockspaces is perfectly positioned to do this for the next Pockets that come out, right, and scale into those too. So maybe you're riding the Pocket rocket ship, but then there may be, and that rhymes, but there may be 3 more coming along down the pipe afterwards that you're going to have to deal with. So you better get ready.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're already testing some other product offerings is what we're calling them. One that actually I'm really excited about, and maybe this is some breaking news
Let's hear it.
So we will be coming out with a Lightning Network product very soon that will enable businesses that want to develop their own payment rails using Bitcoin or the Lightning Network, primarily to be able to get their own node that is non-custodial from our perspective, but we run and manage the actual infrastructure part, the node itself, keep it updated, keep it up and running, and also balance the channel. It's the unique thing about Lightning Network that you have to, that's quite tricky, is making sure that you have enough funds in your channel that it's not lopsided to one end or the other. So you can properly process transactions through your node, and that also becomes a revenue generating aspect of the Lightning Network. So we're going to make it as easy as possible for businesses all around the world to quickly and easily jump on the Lightning Network and start using it for their business.
That's amazing. Cool. Do you have is there a name, or do you have
No, not yet.
Just is what
we
it
don't
is.
even have a launch date yet, but we're well on our way to developing and releasing that product sometime this year for sure. I'm hoping for Q2 or Q3.
That's amazing. And vocabulary interjection, Lightning Network is an offshoot of Bitcoin, meant to hold Bitcoin and make lots and lots of small and large payments more efficient and easier to do than trying to hit the main blockchain.
That's right. Yeah,
Bitcoin,
they call it a layer two.
Layer
so
two,
it sits on top of blockchain, Bitcoin's blockchain. But yeah, it's a network of payment channels where you can almost think of it like Bitcoin staked into the Lightning Network, and then you can push payments around in that network instantly. It's Instant payments, and it's very cheap, very inexpensive, sub-cents worth per transaction. So you make many microtransactions very fluidly with that network. So
and lots of with the energy challenges, the gas fee challenges, it's fair to say that there are just lots of really good solutions coming that are going to solve all of these in the next year or two. And so that will be, those will be hopefully old issues. I mean, Bitcoin will probably always stay proof of work, obviously, but the underlying, the second layers and things like that will cut down on a lot of that. So
definitely, yeah. Ethereum's trying to do the same thing with their scaling issues. It seems like right now Bitcoin is already there with their layer two growing significantly. So it's a global payment network that you can easily tap into. So I think the next wave of interest is going to come from businesses that can leverage this kind of global payment network to reduce the friction and cost of the payments that they're making on a day-to-day basis or even weekly or monthly basis across the world, doing wire transfers that take forever and cost a lot.
And I figured we'd be remiss if we didn't give a little shout out to our mutual friend, Chris Jenkins. As you've had to increase your minimums just because of how busy you are, he stepped in with a nice solution, and also working with you, just in a different capacity, helping to open up the opportunity to folks at a more modest level. And I don't know, is there a landing spot for where people could reach out to him for that? Or
so just shout out to Jinx, good job. Also a long-standing member of this community and helping Michael out from very early stages. Their product is called the Pocket Pool, POKT pool.com, I believe. Where you can they'll manage the fractional pool staking. So if you can't quite get the minimum amount required of Pocket to stake your own full node, you can pile into their pool with any amount. I think any amount, right? Or maybe if you need 50 Pocket, which is pretty reasonable for
a Pocket's about $1.20 now or something.
Yeah,
so even as low as $60, $70, something like that. Yeah.
then you can start staking into the pocket pool and start earning the rewards that Pocket's generating, and even compounding that, keep rolling it over with every tranche. So it's a great way for people to get introduced into Pocket without having to expend a ton of money up front for the investment. But yeah, I love what they're doing.
All right, and we'll finish up. Let's give one. This is I go to the meetups now. I know them. I've been about maybe 6-8 months now, a year, and I miss them. I have a little Sunday night on the Discord channel. Blockspaces has a Discord as well that has great activity on it. And then you're splitting every other month. So 1 month in Tampa and 1 month here at Michael Scott Novilla's place, Nova, on 9th Street. And then and where are you having them in Tampa now?
Either at Embark or a restaurant or bar. We've been at McDenton's so far this year, which works out pretty well.
And where can folks go to get hooked up for the next meetup?
Yeah, so you can just go to tampabaybitcoin.com, and that'll forward you to the actual meetup page where all the events are listed. So we do virtual events as well as in-person meetups. We're going to have a couple events surrounding Synapse Summit coming up in a couple weeks. So we'll do a blockchain-esque event leading into the summit itself as part of the Innovation Week that they're having. So we're excited about that. And there's lots of sessions about all kinds of things at Synapse itself. So NFTs, what we're doing. We're one of the major sponsors at the event, and there's going to be a lot of sessions about legal, tax implications, stuff like that.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, just love to see it happening. Nobody deserves it more than you and Rosa. So it's just it's a great thing, and we'll continue to root for your success and hopefully grab onto the coattails here and ride with you.
Yeah, I appreciate the support and all the love you've shown.
Gabe Higgins, thanks.